Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here today. Just before we get started, just a few house rules. It's a new age now, so you always have to announce this. The Wi-Fi code is, the username, I don't know if you saw it up on the screen, is We Think Code, and the password is launch with a capital L 2017. Launch 2017. Make use of that Wi-Fi. The restrooms are at the back. They're absolutely beautiful restrooms. I must add that because they managed to pull those off. There wasn't anything there last night, and they managed to pull off the most beautiful restroom. So enjoy your time when you're in there. If you need any assistance of this beautiful campus that we were present at today, so much has gone into it, and it looks absolutely stunning. Please make use of all the ladies and gentlemen that you'll see in the blue shirts. Those are the We Think Code assistants today, and they're at the back there waving their hands. They'll be able to show you around, and you can ask them any questions, and they'll be able to assist you with any of your concerns. Ladies and gentlemen, media, guests, We Think Code students, those that are here, of course, government representatives, the Director General, DTPS, Mr. Nguna, thank you very much for joining us, the representative and stakeholders at Telkom and BCX. We're here for a momentous occasion, and it's a really, really special day. And I'm glad to be a part of it. My name is Masejo Maps Maponyane, and I always have to sort of point that out from the start. People always ask me what Maps Maponyane really is, because what is Maps? Is Maps my first name, and Maps is just short for my surname, Maponyane. Long story short, don't want to get too weird about anything, but Masejo is my mom will try and claim that it's unisex, but it's essentially a girl's name. I'm Tswana, and you'll always find men being Lesejo. Masejo is usually the girl's version. And, we always used to have a bit of an argument about that. So essentially, I'm Sarah in English, for those who are a little bit confused. My name means lots of luck, but Maps is short for my surname, as I said, and that came about, not to make things awkward in any way. In school, when kids couldn't pronounce my surname, I don't know what's hard about Maponyane, but for a very long time, I was referred to as my Punani. So I was always very uncomfortable when kids would introduce me to my parents, say, hi, Mom, hi, Dad, this is my friend, my Punani. So now I'm glad to say I'm past that. I work in fashion, media, entertainment, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm passionate about education, and it's really special to be a part of this occasion. People sometimes ask me what my claim to fame is. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you've seen them now and again on SABC1. There's that, Mzansi for sure, I'm the guy who did the voice, and that's how I got to where I am today. So as I said, today is a special day for We Think Code and, of course, BCX and Telkom, and as well as, of course, for all of us that are present today, because it's always a beautiful and special occasion when people are coming together to celebrate any investment into education and skills. And in this case, it's an investment into the next generation of software engineers in South Africa. And to kick us off, I'd like to welcome onto stage Mr. Nguna, the Director General he's from the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services.
Good morning. In the morning, I struggled with choosing my tie, and for some reason, I ended up with blue. Brasibo, I hope it's appropriate. Ne? Yeah. I'm well dressed for the occasion. I normally start writing my speech as I ascend the podium, and this time I was caught off guard, so I didn't get an opportunity to do that. But colleagues, I have a lot of work waiting for me at the department. We also work with so many entities that report to the department. But I took a conscious decision that this is the right place to be. We are talking about 100 young people. In the view of the department, that is a very big number to start with. So I decided that I should come here and be part of this occasion. I'm not sure if I have good news for you, but let me tell you why I came here. I am here to steal this project. Security? So I'm here to steal this project. I think as the department, we have to steal this project, Brasipo. The reason being that, in South Africa, sometimes we talk as if there is nothing going on, as if there is nothing happening. There is a lot going on in our country, and indeed in this sector. Now, the way we want to approach things as the department is to build on what exists. We don't want to go and spend resources that we don't even have as government to come with initiatives, new initiatives. So we want to build on what exists. Now, what is the theme of this engagement that we are having with you? The theme is Internet for All. Now, last week we were at the World Economic Forum Africa, where we engaged with the World Economic Forum and so many other stakeholders on this theme of Internet for All in South Africa. Now, Internet for All is not just about people having access to the internet to go on Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter. It's much more than that. It is about the future of the South African economy. It's about the future of our country. So it may look so small. We may appear to be very few as we meet here, but we represent a bigger aspiration for our country. We are setting a tone for the future of our country. Now, by investing in young people, this is the right thing to do. As government, we don't agree with the view that you need to empower few and you will get things happening. We believe that we need to empower as many people as it is possible. It is impossible to think about the economy of the future that is based on few people. What we need to do, the whole issue of inclusive growth means that every South African, in some way or another, needs to be part of this exercise that we are embarking upon. Now, what are we going to do going forward? We are putting together what we call a partnership for Internet for All. So this project, as small as it may appear to others, we will include it as one of those projects that form part of this partnership. By the way, let me indicate that the chairperson of Telkom, Mr. Jabu Mabuza, was very instrumental in this concept of Internet for All in South Africa. They went to Davos, I think it was last year, and everyone was talking about the internet, the fourth industrial revolution. And Mr. Mabuza said, why can't we do it at home? And indeed, they came back with it here at home, and they told us about the Internet for All. We accepted it, and we are part of it. We are going to be driving it as the department. Now, to those who have been trained, they say the sky is the limit. This is just the beginning. I'm not sure whether you call it the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end, but somewhere in between. The point is that this is a beginning. Now, when we train people in South Africa, we have been training job seekers, people who then have to go and work on their CVs as soon as they receive certificates to go and look for jobs. And we need to think differently. We need to train job creators, people who are going to create jobs. And the only way to do that is when government and the private sector come to the party. So in short, I wish to congratulate everyone who's involved in this, Telkom, BCX, the learners themselves, the program director, and everyone who is really part of this initiative. And let me conclude by saying that you will hear more announcements in the next few weeks coming from the minister on how all of us move forward with this theme for Internet for All. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the DG for those words. It is really, really encouraging to hear that, especially with so much enthusiasm, and especially coming from the Director General of from the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services, and also a very avid Kaizer Chiefs fan. He was very happy to let me know. He even said that he used to, try and emulate the players before, and he used to have a perm himself and wear the really short soccer pants. It's great to see you in a suit, sir. Our following speaker is one of the main reasons that we are all here today, as this could not have happened, had it not been for him and the generosity of his group or company. Many will speak of how invested they are and how supportive they are of youth skills and transformation, and how important it is for all of us for development and greater employment to be a part of that. However, very few will put their money where their mouth is. And the following gentleman, as well as his group, has done exactly that, together with BCX, of course, to the tune of 60 million rand. Ladies and gentlemen, Sipho Maseko, the Telkom Group CEO.
Morning, everyone. The Kaizer Chiefs supporter. One thing that really gets you to get ahead in Telkom, from a career perspective, is that you must be an Orlando Pirates supporter. Then you really get on, okay? You really, really get on. But on a serious note, thank you. Thanks for joining us today as we launching the We Think Code program with a whole lot of partners. This is not really my sponsorship, because I don't think I'm the one who writes the check. I think Ian actually writes the check, so he'll say a couple of words later on. As Telkom and as a group of companies, there's a couple of things that we really believe in. And it was quite ironic as I walked into the building to actually think of this building almost as a building of youth activism, all right? So We Think Code is here. I think the EFF is on the 6th floor or something like that. I kind of thought, okay, this is cool. Okay, this is really, really cool. I got lost a little bit because I grew up here, but all the new names really messed me up. So I still know Market Street and Elof and Pritchard. So if they had used the old names, I would have found my way very, very quickly. But it actually goes to show the power of technology, because with all of the things that you guys will be doing and many other learners, and actually, if I'm not wrong, it will be about 200 learners per year that will go through the program. In a sense, part of what we believe our mission is as Telkom and all of the subsidiaries that we have is, how do we modernize South African society? How do we modernize its people? How do we make sure that the issues of access that the DG was talking to are sorted out? At the heart of it is, how do we democratize broadband so that whether you're rich or poor, whether you live in Joburg or Cape Town, actually you can have access. And one of the things that we believe in is that technology is a great equalizer. And once everyone has the technology, not just to consume it, but actually to be able to evolve it and develop it, we begin to really make a difference in the country. So that's the first thing. The second thing is around the focus on young people. Many efforts, and we're not certainly different or special as a company, but like everybody else, we truly, truly believe that unless we take a much deeper interest in changing the destiny and the cause of action of our young people, we will not have the sort of impact that South Africa desires into the future. At times, corporates tend to throw money at a problem, but I think what we will hopefully be able to do here is to really evolve an organic partnership. I think we'll be able to take quite a number of the students to actually come and work inside Telkom. We own an IT company called BCX, so Ian Russell looks after that. And they have a mission. Their mission is very simple. How do they digitalize the South African economy? So make sure that the totality of the economy of South Africa is moved from analog to digital. How we bank, how we how we transact, how we learn, how we make sure that health is accessible, and how we make sure that all of the other public and private services can be accessed by people, irrespective of who they are. There's been a couple of inflection points in the technology evolution in South Africa. Back in '94, when the cell phone was launched, I think the business case, and I think Telkom actually drove the business case for mobile, the business case said that there would be a maximum of 400,000 people that will have cell phones in this country. So if you look today, everybody has a cell phone. South Africa is probably the only market, well, not the only, but it's a market now where we have penetration of about 110%. So people not just have one cell phone, some have 2 or 3, all right? So the penetration is very deep. So that's the first thing that it's done. But the introduction of prepaid was probably the next inflection point, because before prepaid, getting a cell phone was like buying a car, all right? It was almost impossible to get a cell phone. Prepaid gets introduced, a whole lot of people then began to have access. Even a guy who could not read and write, all of a sudden could send you a please call me, all right? That's very, very powerful, okay? It's very, very powerful, because immediately it brought into the mainstream communication platform a whole lot of other people, and they could interact with other people. The third inflection point is the introduction of broadband, and you know, my belief, and I think the belief of the companies that I represent here, is that actually we've hardly scratched the surface of what broadband can do. I think connectivity is the enabler, but it's the things that we are actually supporting today that will really, really make a difference. How do we write code and algorithms for things that will also solve our practical problems, okay? Because if technology does not solve our practical problems as society, as South Africans, then it's kind of useless, okay? It needs to solve quite a lot of problems that we have. How do we make sure that a lot more people get educated? Nobody dies of malaria. Nobody dies of malnutrition. Nobody actually can be born and die without having read a book or being exposed to something. So those are very, very practical problems. And lastly, how can it become an instrument of empowerment, where you empower yourself as an individual, you empower the people that live around you, you change their lives, and as we try to say, we leave the place better than we found it. So you'll be a special group of about 200 people. Hopefully we'll be able to scale this up in partnership with the department so that we can be able to train a lot more people in the skills of the future, and enable a lot more people to be able to be part of that future. It can't be an exclusive club. It has to be a very open access platform. And as Telkom, we're very, very proud to be part of this, and also not just ourselves and the people like FNB, Old Mutual, and a whole lot of other partners who were here before us and those that will still come with us into the future to make sure that we really scale this. So I sincerely wish, you know, especially the learners, all of the best. Thank all of the BCX and the Telkom people who've put a lot of work behind this. And more importantly, the commitment that Ian and his team have made to guarantee 40 of the people that come here to come and work for Telkom going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maseko. And he raises an incredible point of the penetration of cell phone access. You realize that everyone has a cell phone these days, whoever it is you interact with. I've had occasions where I've been in a car and someone has been, you know, begging for money or something, and then their cell phone has rang all of a sudden. And just to show you how essential that's become, is literally that. And we're seeing that Wi-Fi now is slowly becoming a human right, where people have to have Wi-Fi. There's been reports from most businesses and restaurants or cafes where businesses increase by 50% if they've got Wi-Fi access. Also, a lot of the statistics that are told to people are made up on the spot, but literally has increased in a very, very large way. I think it's about 50%. And one more, well, and another point that I thought was really interesting was that usually people throw money at the problem. Corporate throws money at the problem, and that's never the way to do it. But I think in this case, what's so beautiful about this partnership is that for once, I feel like corporate is throwing money at the solution. And with what we think Code is doing, there's a clear solution here, and for more support, and with the great infrastructure, why would you not throw money at it? And also, that amount of money, I see as a Pirate supporter, the number 660 was something that did definitely come into play. So it's been a while since we've had a positive relationship with that number, considering the year we've been through. Another key part of this puzzle, and as Mr. Masoko said, the person who signed the check in this case is BCX's Ian Russell, of course part of the Telkom group. His company is committed to preparing African businesses to compete in the new digital economy. Ian stresses the point that if businesses don't invest in digitalization, then they should be prepared to be left behind. And I certainly couldn't agree more. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of BCX, Ian Russell.
Thank you, and good morning. Now, my mother told me a long time ago that brevity is close to godliness, so I should be very brief and very short. Firstly, and probably very critically, we've talked a lot about the Internet for All program, the ability to get access to as many South Africans as we possibly can. If the Internet for All creates the roads, then the coders build the cars. And you have choices in life. Do you want to import all your cars, or do you want to design and develop and drive your own homegrown cars? And that's what we think Code fundamentally does. It allows us to create a capability in this country to build the cars that are going to go on the roads that we're building at the same time. Arlene and I, who will speak in a moment, my partner in crime on this one, have been working for about 2 years together on thinking about how we get a scale play into this whole coding arena. Now, I don't know how many history or how many economics graduates there are in South Africa every year. It's a lot, okay? In that context, if you were saying we were managing to enable the education of 200 people, it would kind of be neither here nor there. 200 coders coming through a program of this quality is just about unparalleled in the country. We're more than doubling the capacity. We're more than doubling the capacity of teaching coding in South Africa through this investment. It is very much the beginning of our journey with We Think Code. We've had 20 students going through in the last year or so. The quality of their outputs when they've been working with us on their internships has been quite remarkable, both in our digital gaming businesses and some other areas of app development and so on and so forth. They're getting to things in a week where our traditional software engineers haven't been getting there in a month. Okay. Yeah! You got it, baby. That is a massive, massive leapfrog because, and it's critical because, these guys do not think like software engineers, and it's a critical point of departure. It's a critical point of departure. This is a very robust 2-year program focused heavily on peer-to-peer coaching, a lot of independent work, a lot of group work together, but it's all about creating solutions to very tricky problems using coding. It is not a traditional academic program at all. For the first cohort that came through a year or so ago, and Arlene will correct me, I think there were about 40,000 expressions of interest in the program for whom they selected 100 people. And none of the old economy, old world criteria for selection were used. Nobody cared whether they had matric, okay? Nobody cared what background they came from. Nobody cared where they'd been schooled before. All we cared about was, were they good enough to be one of the very best coders that this country can produce? And that is what We Think Code is about. So the BCX investment is financial, but it's an awful lot more than that. It's about making sure then that we create an ecosystem around these kids as they come through that allows them to succeed. And be really clear, if you go and talk to them across the road, and I hope you do afterwards, the majority of them don't necessarily want to join IBM or Microsoft or Telkom or anybody else like that. They want to work on their own, entrepreneurially, to generate code that makes things happen. And they don't believe large corporates will do that. So then how do we at BCX create an ecosystem and an infrastructure that allows these guys to stay independent, but actually buys their product and stimulates and generates young, small business? So that's a critical part of how We Think Code then feeds into our Future Makers program, which is entirely around small, young businesses and the way that they develop. That's why we're in it for the long term. We're hugely excited to be working with Arlene and the team here, and we're looking forward to the next few years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ian. Ian's already alluded to both Arlene and, of course, Kami, the the two co-founders of We Think Code, who've done an incredible job here, and they will finally say a few words and tell us about how excited they are, and they also have an incredible announcement to make, which I think will grow We Think Code in a very, very big and positive way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's my great pleasure to welcome all of you here to a new part of our campus today and to share these exciting announcements with you. As Ian has said, we came together on a shared vision. So a shared vision to develop the next generation of digital talent, a shared vision to empower our young people, and a shared vision to drive the digital economy in Africa. We are thrilled to welcome BCX on board today as one of our growth sponsors, but we're really also thankful for our founding sponsors who are here today. We've got BBD, we've got FNB and RMB, and also Derifco, who's worked with us from the start to build this incredible program. You know, it's extremely important for us to work with leaders in the tech industry. And as Ian has rightly said, it's not only a financial contribution. We work closely together with our partners to make sure that not only are we always on the forefront of what's actually happening in the industry, but our partners also work with us to provide real opportunities for our students. Our students do internships, they get on-the-job training, and they've got a clear path to employment. So the incredible contribution from BCX has enabled us to kickstart our growth plans. So for those of you who haven't looked at the 4th floor, please do. And the space that you see here today is all brand new. 2 months ago, this journey started, the building started of this. So thanks to Urban Ocean as well for getting all of this done in a mere 2 months. But then last year, as we've said, we've had just over 100 students here. Now we're enabled to add another 200 students. So in 2 weeks' time, we'll have more than 300 students on this campus. So that is incredible, and if you take into account, more than doubling the market in this country. But then I'm very excited to share an announcement with you as well. Because of this contribution, we will also be opening a campus in Cape Town. So we are expanding geographically, we are accessing more of the country, making it as open and accessible as possible. Our campus will be ready by the end of the year. We're finalizing the location at the moment. So in 2018, not only will we have potentially 400 students in our Joburg campus, another 200 in Cape Town. So we're very excited about this journey. Thank you. And then, Mr. Nkuna, thank you for joining us today. I'm actually very happy that you say you want to steal our program. We hope that, you know, we looked at this crisis that we have in this country a little bit differently. We completely turned it on its head. We said, no, students can study for free. Let's partner with industry to enable us to provide free education to our students. But not only that, we have no teachers, we have no classes. We have revolutionized the way that education works. So we are very excited to share our journey and our learnings, and hopefully this will, not only in education, but in other challenges that we face in this country, we will inspire other people to look at the challenges a little bit differently as well. And then lastly, I just want to share a little bit of our vision. So we are extremely passionate about finding young talent and empowering them. And if you look at what's happening in the world, everything is going digital. But what we have here in South Africa and in the rest of Africa, we've got incredible talent. We've got people on the ground here that understand how things work. They are diverse and creative. But what's lacking at the moment here is the technical skills. So imagine we can change this. Imagine we can bridge the skills gap. We are going to drive and develop a new industry in this country. That's going to drive economic growth. It's going to drive job development for our unemployed young people. And I want all over the world, if anyone is thinking, where do I find creative, innovative, really smart people that can solve problems for me? South Africa is the first place that they think about. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome Kemi.
Hello everyone, so I'm Camille, I'm the French DNA of the We Think Code co-founding team. And we have a few other Frenchies around the room, please meet them, they're really nice. So first of all, thank you all for being here, and thank you to BCX and Telkom for this incredible sponsorship that, as Arlene said, will enable us to reach new heights here in Johannesburg and tomorrow in Cape Town. But more than just enabling us to open a new campus or train more and more developers, this sponsorship is helping us to further our mission to unlock and train epic coding talent to drive the digital economy here in South Africa and one day across the continent. Because if we embrace the digital economy as our future mainstream economy, then we need to realize that software engineers, they're not only going to be writing lines of codes, they're going to be designing our world of tomorrow. And for our students, this is a great opportunity, but this is a greater responsibility. This is why, in addition to developing world-class software engineering skills in partnership with École 42 in France and the United States, we are also developing our own Coding You for Success program that will teach our students the necessary life skills to thrive in this digital economy. In an open and peer-to-peer learning environment with youth from all cultures and all backgrounds, We Think Code students will learn resilience, critical thinking, how to work together, how to celebrate diversity and turn challenges into opportunities. They will have to master self-discipline, and most importantly, they will never stop learning from themselves and from others around them. So we like to say that our epic coders are more than software engineers. They are curious, they are creative, they are purpose-driven and bondless, and their energy is contagious. I'd now like to actually give the mic to two of them to show you what they are, who they are.
We Think Code. Orlando Pirates. So my name is Arno. I am a student currently interning at We Think Code, and I'd like to briefly share some of my experience with you. So from the very first day, you get pushed to your limit. You get given a bunch of problems to solve, and little to no instruction on how to solve it. So you have to really adapt really quickly in order to survive. And you learn a new way of problem solving. But that problem solving isn't limited to just computer science and computer programming. I quickly found myself learning mathematics, French, and even music theory using the principles that I learned here. And it opened up a new way of thinking about things. It changed the way I see problems, I see everything. It even changed the way my brain thinks. I used to be motivated by fear, away from failure. And now I find myself, I'm more motivated towards accomplishing certain goals. And that even led me to facing my fear of public speaking. And here I am right now. Thank you. Thank you. I really do think that We Think Code will revolutionize not only skills development, but education in South Africa. Over to you, Carl.
Hey everyone, so my name is Carl, and I'm also a student here at We Think Code. I didn't really prepare for this speaking here today, so I guess I'm just gonna wing it, and what comes out, but the reason why I didn't prepare is because I kind of wanted to speak from the heart and give you the full experience without having to think about what's on the paper. And I guess the place where I'd like to start is from a quotation from Anne Frank. And this quotation says that everyone has inside of him a piece of good news. And this good news is that you don't know how great you can be, how much you can love, what you can accomplish, and what your potential is. And the reason why I bring up this quote is because for me, We Think Code is closely tied to this whole concept. And in the fact that We Think Code is this conduit to this good news that I tell you about. So I'm going to break it down into sort of the three parts. And the first part that I'd like to start off with is the potential side of things. So we'll start off from the back and go to the front. And of the 60,000 people who've applied to We Think Code over the 2 years, year and a half, if you will, I can closely relate to the issues that they face. I myself am one of those stories where you're an A student, but you couldn't afford to study further and grow your potential based on these limitations and circumstances. And I completely understand that. And of these 60,000 people who have applied to We Think Code, I guess the part where we differ is the fact that we've actually made it into the course as the 120 people. And I guess what really changed things for me is that no longer was I limited to the circumstance from before. And for me, that revolutionized everything for me, because I felt that I had so much to offer the world, and We Think Code was providing this opportunity for me. So the potential that We Think Code unlocks within you, you don't have to worry anymore about the fees that you have to pay. We Think Code kind of, as Camille would say, breaks those barriers to entry. And for me, that is something that you would never ever be able to find at a normal university or even at some companies today. The second thing that I'd like to speak to you about is the accomplishment side of things. I'm not sure if you remember Arlene, but when I came to We Think Code, I told Arlene that my passion was business and building something that could scale, something that could mean so much to not only me, not only to the people who work at the company, but the people that the company touches. And a year later, I'm interning at We Think Code, a company that's doing exactly that, a company that's expanded exponentially over just a period of a year. And for me, that sense of accomplishment, whether it be one day working on my own business or continuing to work with We Think Code, for me, that sense of accomplishment is just so great. And then finally, I forget now, but the final thing that I want to speak to you about is the love thing that Anne Frank speaks to you about. And, I'd like to, I'm going to embarrass Arno here for a second, but, a year ago, Anna and I didn't know each other, and it's so apt that he and I are speaking up on the stage today because of the fact that we've been through this journey together. And how Anna and I actually got to know each other was by traveling to We Think Code of all places. And in the car, you would expect that it's just normal conversations happening between two guys traveling to campus every day. Sounds quite normal, but what was so interesting about this was the way it is that we thought, and these are the kinds of people that We Think Code is bringing together. We would speak about our aspirations for life. We'd speak about, formulating how it is that we can change other people's lives. And one thing that really stood out to me when traveling with Arno was one day, we were driving and Arno said two words to me, and in all of this formulation of our ideas, just these two words meant so much to me and really changed the way it is that I think about how businesses should operate. And the two words were this: dude, We Think Code. It's just those two simple words, and I guess he even said that to you when he came up to you on stage, but the level at which he said it, he had such a passion for this organization, a passion that you don't really find out in the real world. And for me, that love is something that you need to look for as organizations of today. Not only a love for what it is that you do, or love for where it is that you work, but a love for everything. And I really sense that, with Arno, and, with all of these things being said, I'd like to say thank you so much for, your sponsorship. It means that tomorrow, so much more people would be able to experience exactly that, the love for the organizations that they work with and work for, and the people that they work with. They'd be able to accomplish so much more. And then finally, they'd be able to make such a greater impact, on the new society that we've built today. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. I just love how that just took a big turn from I didn't really prepare anything at all. I have a quote from Anne Frank, and I'd like to break this down into 3 parts. I mean, didn't prepare anything at all. Just wing. Thank you very much. Great for winging it. You should wing everything you do. That was awesome. And I did a talk here a few months ago, and it was absolutely amazing getting to engage with each and every one of the students that had come to the talk. And Arno couldn't stop asking questions, and it was absolutely awesome because he wasn't the only one. I mean, he stands out because he was at the front, but I was getting so many questions from each and every one of these students about the things that perhaps I would never have thought of or had completely neglected in my mind. And to see that hunger and desire and learning and wanting to know as much as they can while they still have you for that little bit that they'll have you and excel at whatever they do was amazing. I was supposed to only be there for about 30 minutes to give a talk, and I think we were there for about 3 hours in the end, 2.5 to 3 hours. And it was just beautiful hearing everyone's different thoughts and opinions and asking questions about whatever they could. So it really is amazing to see that hunger. I also wanted to mention that Kyle Gani, that's his name, right? Kyle Gani, Arno van Wyk, by the way. Kyle Gani has created the new We Think Code website that went live this morning, I think. And the website is www.wethinkcode.co.za. That's wethinkcode.co.za, and it is absolutely sleek and really, really lovely. So great job, Kyle. I think everyone should check that out and really interact with it and see what some of these great coders are up to. People have stated more and more. It's been something that's been really, I think a little bit encouraging, but depending on how you see things, it can also be a bit discouraging. They've said that Africa is the future, but unfortunately, Africans themselves don't realize it. And for a while now, with anything I've taken on entrepreneurially, it's always been about arguing that point and pushing the fact that Africa is in fact not only the future, but it's also the present, the current, the now. And maybe Africans don't realize it. Programs such as this, partnerships such as this, amazing development such as this, such keenness from students that are here, such keenness from people at the top who are still so passionate about making a change and making a difference and making an impact is really encouraging, because it makes me feel that, perhaps South Africans, and all of us here are starting to really realize that. So I think you should all really give yourselves a big round of applause. And I can see a lot of people just staring at me. I can almost hear your stomachs growling. That calls to the end of today's proceedings and formalities. Thank you very much for everyone that's come out. Please make use of the ladies and the gentlemen, the blue shirts who will be showing you around. It's a beautiful campus. Please wander as much as possible, explore, get lost, and they'll be able to show you your way out. We'll be having a lunch on the 8th floor upstairs at the penthouse. And you'll be able to enjoy a good meal there, have some good fun, enjoy it, have a really good time. Just remember, you still have to go to the office. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming, and let's spread the good word of We Think Code, and let's keep making a difference. Thank you.